to remember, like, how I was before, you know? I think the biggest benefit from being at the school was the perspective on things and really looking at that bigger picture and then kind of filtering it down into these kind of key little issues and how to address them, and they might not be the first thing you notice. And I think wherever I go in the future, I don't know exactly where I'm going to head with this all, but I bring a perspective that I don't think a lot of people think about. I think a lot of people are so focused on those small things right from the get-go, and they don't ever think about the bigger picture and how things sort of work together. And so I think that's really beneficial to any company. And I also think just from like working with other people, I've learned about things in the design world that I never would have probably come across, or it would have taken me like 20 years to come across. And so I feel like I'm very involved, you know, with design in all different forms. I think for me, I just always want to learn, and I think here I was always kind of gathering new information, new perspectives on things. Like, I think it was the people, because we pushed each other. Like, somebody would come into the studio one day with something they were working on their project and share it with everybody else, and it was something I had never thought about before, or a way of looking at things just differently. I think the teachers, like, they all have different opinions on things, and sometimes they butt heads, but a lot of times they also, one will tell you to think about something one way and you get stuck, and then somebody will say, well, what about this? And then you're like, oh, well, that helps. And sometimes it's really confusing, but then eventually you always figure it out. So even coming to the program, I had an idea of that it was these bigger scope things and dealing with other people and collaboration and all that, but I didn't really fully understand it until second year, honestly. First year, I was still trying to grasp all these things and understand what the whole program was about. And then in second year, I was like, oh, this makes sense. Like, I get it now. Because we would throw around terms like co-design and systems design and collaboration and everything like that, but I was like, well, which one is it? And I'm like, well, it's kind of all of these things, you know? So I think of design much more openly now. Like, I think about it in more as like, I guess it goes from being about something tangible to being more about a process and kind of a perspective on things instead of just a skill set.